Hi, I'm Tiara Sawyers. I work in the Gulfport School District, and I am here to discuss with you about natural processes. The standards that will be covered in this lesson are Standard E.4.9C and E.4.9C.2. Essential question. How do natural processes affect water movement? I can statement. I can understand that Earth is affected by outside movements and human activities. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about types of natural processes. Now, we're going to talk about three of them, okay? So, the first one that we're going to talk about is weathering. Weathering is the process where Earth's surface is broken down into smaller pieces, okay? And then after weathering, we have erosion, okay? So, after those Earth's surface is broken down into smaller pieces, those pieces are moved somewhere. All right, so the process of it being moved is called erosion. Then we have deposition. Deposition means to be deposited somewhere. So after the earth's surface is broken down into smaller pieces and it's moved somewhere, it lands somewhere else. It ends up being deposited into another place. Okay, so those are the three processes that we have. Now let's talk about how those three processes affect Earth's surface, okay? The Earth's surface gets broken down through weathering. For as long as the Earth has existed, weathering has helped shape the landscape. Weathering wears away rocks and soil. Water is often the main cause of weathering, either as rain or ice. Rainwater can easily enter cracks in rocks or sidewalks. If this happens during cold months, the water may freeze and expand in the crack. Working as a wedge, the ice splits the rock. Many times, road crews have to patch up potholes caused by weathering from ice. Wind can also cause weathering. Over long periods of time, wind can wear away rock and carry tiny pieces of the rock to new places. This can create amazing landscapes, such as rocks that look like mushrooms. Sometimes living things can cause weathering. Plant roots can wedge their way in between small cracks in rocks. As the plant grows, the roots increase the size of the crack little by little. Eventually, pieces of the rocks break off and get carried away by wind or water. Erosion moves pieces of the earth. As pieces of the earth are broken down by weathering, they are carried away in a process called erosion. Water is a common way that pieces of the earth are moved to a new location. Wind also contributes to erosion by blowing the particles away. Glaciers can pick up pieces of the earth and drag them to new locations. They are slow but powerful. Although erosion has helped shape some of the amazing features on Earth, it can be harmful to the environment. When soil is washed away from one place to another, it can carry harmful materials like chemical, fertilizers, or pesticides. These dangerous chemicals can pollute our water supply. Deposition is when pieces of the earth are deposited somewhere else. It is important to remember that when weathering happens, tiny pieces of the earth do not disappear. They are moved through erosion and deposited somewhere else through deposition. It could be very close, only a few feet away, or it can be many miles away, such as if the tiny pieces were washed into a river. The deposited materials can also create new landforms. For example, in Hawaii, black sand from eroded lava is deposited on several beaches. Weathering happens at different rates. We see the effects of weathering and erosion every day. Splits in roads or sidewalks are caused by the expansion of ice or the daily heating and cooling of the ground. Sand on the beach is created from ocean waves pounding on rocks and eventually creating sand. Sometimes erosion can happen very quickly, like with mudslides. Mudslides are caused by moving water and gravity and happen in only minutes. Most weathering, however, is a slow process that happens over thousands of millions of years. The speed at which weathering and erosion take place depends on the type of material that is being worn away. Some hard rock, like granite, wears away slowly, while softer rock, like limestone, wears away much more quickly. Now that we learned a little bit more about weathering, erosion, and deposition, we are going to learn a little bit of how these natural processes can affect water movement. Let's watch this quick video.
Water, or more precisely running water, is the greatest force of erosion and deposition on Earth. The category of running water includes a lot of things. Runoff is,
ooh, what I do when you want me to work?
Well, that's true. But in terms of erosion, runoff is when the water from rain and melting snow carries rocks and sediments downhill. This can be on a limited scale or on a huge one when storms occur. Runoff can create small cuts in hillsides, and the soil from these cuts can get deposited at the base or mouth of the cut. If these cuts or gullies become larger and collect water more often, they become stream beds. The streams, and as you've seen, the rocks they carry, wear down into the ground to form small valleys. As with gullies, the material carried by streams gets deposited where the stream slows on level ground. When streams combine to form rivers, they can carve even deeper channels, and the massive amounts of rocks and sediment they move and deposit can create new landforms. These include deltas, where the rocks and soil carried by rivers have built up large areas of fertile land where the mouths of the rivers meet the sea. There's another kind of moving water besides running water.
What's that? Flying water or walking very slowly water?
It's waves. The action of waves on the shoreline never stops. This moving water and the rocks and sand it carries wears away at some parts of the shoreline and piles up sediment at others.
All right, I hope you have learned a lot. Thank you for tuning in.